Hey, listeners, thanks for tuning into the podcast. I just want to take a moment to mention the podcast sponsor, retrogamestore.com.au. Head over there for all your Game Boy refurbish and repair needs. Screens, shells, buttons, and all the bits and pieces. And there's a complete custom build made to order service as well. Also, plenty more retro gaming goodness like video cables, display stand and power supplies, controls, etc. And you can add the code PixelPie at checkout to get 10% off your order. Also, take a moment to say if you enjoyed this episode and haven't already, give it a subscribe or follow and a review where you can. And maybe you want to recommend the Pixel Pie podcast to anyone you know that would enjoy it. That'd be really appreciated. So thanks for listening, and now let's get on with the show.
Hey, my name is Mike, also known as VisualPixel, and this is the Pixel Pie podcast.
Hey, Mike. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Yeah, I am well. So welcome to the Pixel Pie podcast. You and I've been talking
thanks
about
for having me.
No, that's fine. It's really a pleasure to have a chat with you and so get to know you and understand what makes you tick, because that's what this is all about. So Mike, Visual Pixel,
That's right.
currently living in Switzerland. Is that correct? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're in Switzerland. Because as far as I can tell, you've got an English accent.
Yeah. I was born and raised in Switzerland, but I'm half British, half Swiss, and
Right.
I've actually also got the Australian nationality.
Oh, how'd you manage to swindle that?
It's thanks to my parents as well, who lived down in Australia for a while.
Oh, right. So did you sort of grow up here or just a couple of years or something?
Nah, born and raised.
Oh, what, in Australia?
No, in Switzerland. Sorry.
Oh, right. Cool.
I've only been to Australia a few times.
Oh, okay. So you and I are sort of catching up because you're into Game Boys and modding and, shells and carts and all sorts of cool stuff. Tell us a little bit about where it all started for you, mate.
Well, actually, it loops back to Australia when I moved out there in 2018 for a couple of months for a job.
Yep.
And I knew I was coming back to Europe, so I didn't bring much of my stuff with me and kind of spent most of my evenings watching the Retro Future on YouTube, which kind of sparked that idea of repairing Game Boys. I knew in the back of my mind that I had probably a few of them back home. I wasn't too sure. I knew I had my original Game Boy Advance SP. I'm only 23, so I haven't grown up with the Game Boy. I grew up with a Game Boy Advance SP and especially the Nintendo DSi.
Right. Yep.
So Game Boys really don't aspire nostalgia to me, but the whole sort of environment does. And once I came back to Europe after I moved out from Australia, I got into Game Boys, consoles. I found an old Gamecube I had as well. And it kind of all started from there.
The Gamecube's pretty rad, isn't it? Like, if you haven't really experienced it, you didn't grow up on it, because there was a bit of a, from what I can tell, there was a whole, I think the Xbox kind of hit the market and someone's like, hey, apparently Nintendo's got a console, and Nintendo's like, yeah, so we've got this GameCube, and it feels like they didn't really want to talk about it, but they kind of had to. So if you didn't grow up in that era, like the GameCube, I've got a GameCube, and I put a GC loader in it. It's like, it's amazing. Like, it's because I got a Wii, and it's just that little bit before, but it's just, you can see what they were building on. Yeah, right. So you kind of then you went home and dug all these Game Boys out and.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the GameCube was the first mod I did. I refurbed it, did a paint job.
Yeah.
Added Swiss, I think it is, to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of where it all started. I like taking things apart.
Yeah.
So
Swiss
all
was
fell
like
into place, I guess.
So you could run like backups, etc. Is that
yeah, I think I used it with with the R4, if I'm not mistaken, to load
Right.
any type of games I can download online.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so then once you sort of got hold of your first one that you were willing to open up and refurb or whatever, what was the sort of the what really triggered it for you, do you think?
I guess it'd be the simplicity of it all as well. I
Mm,
didn't really need to spend a huge amount of time figuring out how everything worked to be able to repair it in a sense. Maybe I got lucky and the Game Boy really wasn't in a bad state, but I
mm,
like cleaning things up and making them look new.
mm. It's a bit like that though, isn't it? Like if you watch Elliot, his stuff is very much like he is good at what he does, but a lot of time he's just showing you take the time to open it up, clean it
Exactly.
up, take all the plastic and put them in a tub of dishwater and get it down the ISO on the board and just give it a good clean up. And 9 times out of 10, like you see other people that get them and they don't power on. And it's just the power switch just needs a little
Yeah.
TLC and things like that. So they're really
Out
good.
of a, out of a 20 or so Game Boys, I've probably one or two have needed soldering, but the rest were just a good clean and they're
Mm,
back to working again.
mm. Is there's anything you do with Game Boys or retro gaming sort of relate to your occupation, if you don't mind me asking?
It does not. I spend most of my time in front of a computer. I'm a motion designer and a video editor.
Oh, cool.
So it really does not have much to do apart from it being the complete opposite. And I don't use a computer when repairing Game Boys. So I guess it's this sort of nice, um, this nice break from you being in front of a computer when I spend my time repairing Game Boys.
Yeah, yeah. So do you mind me asking a bit more about that? Motion editor, did you
Not at all.
say?
Motion designer. I
Motion.
I basically make graphics move around in on videos.
Oh, okay. What, like
And
sort of advertisements and things like that, television advertisements?
yeah, mostly that's what I've been doing. Yeah. And on top of that, I do quite a lot of 3D renders, but that's mostly for myself.
Right.
You can actually see quite a few on my Instagram page. Back when I started, I would do one 3D render every third post, I think.
Right. Is that you did the one of the potential Mario GBC? Is that one of yours? It's like a
Yes, that
blue
could
and
be it.
red dual color gear. You need to build that. You do.
Yeah.
It's
If it's
amazing.
floating around in midair, it's mostly there's a
Yeah.
high chance it's a render.
Yeah, yeah. I was watching something the other day about these two machines that were they used to be the cutting edge of that kind of 70s, you know, kind of graphics that would come out of the screen words and stuff. And this machine was like the size of a dude's room, and it was all these like oscillators and dials and stuff. And it was worth hundreds of $1,000s back then. Now you can do it on a desktop, but he's got
Yeah,
one that he demonstrates with and one covered in plastic, and it's phenomenal, isn't it? Really to
it's
see.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. So, obviously, it's kept you occupied and kept you interested. Apart from being sort of different to your job, you said it doesn't really give you don't have the nostalgia. But what do you think about these little critters that keeps you sort of buying more and rolling the dice on broken ones or maybe broken ones and pushing them out?
I don't know. I just really like the whole idea of bringing something back to life. I
Mm,
also started collecting as well, which was super dangerous for my wallet,
yeah,
um, as as you probably know as well.
yeah,
And it's kind of just snowballed from here.
yeah. What's your sort of collection like current state and I guess goals?
Well, two of my goals were getting the Australian GBC,
Yeah.
which I currently have
Yes.
in a case, and
Yes.
the other one was getting that Swiss Game Boy Advance SP. There's only about 500 made,
Oh, is that
and
legit? I saw that on your
yeah,
Instagram.
yeah, yeah, that's
Man,
legit.
so yeah, anybody that's listening, go and have a look at Mike's Instagram, and there's a SP. So the image there's pretty rad. It's got the kind of the Swiss Army knife, and so that's a legit Swiss SP. Do you know any of the backstory on that particular
From
SP?
from what I could find online, it was an unauthorized product, and was taken down after having made 500, which is why there's so few.
Right.
But
So unauthorized.
apart
So
from that,
who
no.
put it out then?
Like non-licensed,
Oh,
non-licensed by Nintendo.
right. And this was back in the day, like when the SP was
Yeah. I
coming
think
around.
I found an article in 2003 about it, if I'm not mistaken. But it's really scarce and it's all in German as well, which I can't really understand.
That's pretty cool, huh? That's super, super rare. I guess there could be a bit of a goal there in collecting the ones from all over the world. It's the
Yeah.
specific Pokemon Center ones that really pull the money, hey?
Yeah, exactly.
And the Astro Boy Pocket, but that's
Yeah,
whatever.
those are crazy.
Yeah, there's a really awesome video of Wozniak, as in Apple and Steve Jobs, talking about playing Tetris, and he's playing Tetris on his Astro Boy Pocket, and there's just so much really cool retro tech just in that sort of 8 minutes of video. It's just,
That's mad.
yeah, it is mad. Well, I remember when one of the iPhones came out was Wozniak bought that his iPhone for that year in Australia, just
Really?
in like at some random Apple shop. Like people had been lining up for days and were so delirious they didn't even notice they were standing next to Wozniak. Like, damn it,
Mad.
could have got him to sign your iPhone.
Yeah.
Right. So do you on here it says on your website? Oh, sorry, Instagram. It says custom Game Boys, clothing, and more. What's the plan there? Or are you already sort of getting stuff done?
Yeah, I'm getting stuff done. I mean, I started a new job in January, so my store's been paused since then. Just
Right.
trying to find a work-life balance,
Yeah.
especially with a hobby that takes up so much time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before that, I had a few clothing designs. I did some Game Boy DIY kits, so I'd sell everything but for Game Boy PCB.
Right.
So you get a custom UV printed shell, some custom buttons. You could even
Right.
get like the kit to do a USB-C rechargeable mod,
Yeah.
and I would ship all of that to you, and you could then mod your own Game Boy.
Oh, that's cool, huh? That's cool. I noticed the day there's the latest GBA LCD is just drop in, like you don't have to do the lens.
Oh yeah,
Tito on
yeah,
Nacho Nacho had it, and it's like you don't have to do the lens, you don't have to do anything. You literally undo the old one. The only downside is it
yeah,
seems to be a bit dimmer, and if you want to solder, you can just bridge 2 points on a transistor or something somewhere. And it's like, but like that's where it's got to go if you really want to be able to look after your stuff. The beauty of that is you can just take the old screen out, mark it, this was from GBAX, and just put it
yeah,
away. And then when you want to put it back to, museum quality, you just swap them back out. How good's that?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So do you have any other sort of stuff that you collect that you think relates to retro gaming or maybe not?
Uh,
I can see a couple of
yeah,
skateboards
I
around.
collect. Yeah, I've got a few skateboards. I skateboard as well.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to retro gaming as well, I'd say I've got I like collecting vintage Nintendo clothing.
Oh,
Um, so like employee shirts, like the one I'm actually currently wearing, which was from a repair center
oh, wicked.
back in the day.
Oh, wicked. Do you
And
have any of those
I've
cool
also got
jackets? They like
I would love to.
the people that you ring up and they were like a counselor and they got the cool red jacket and stuff.
That's so expensive up on eBay. I can't really afford that right now. Maybe one day.
What are they going for? You've obviously looked.
I think I saw one once for about 700 to 800,
Oh, yeah. It's not
which
too bad. It's like
which
relative
yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's not too bad compared to some other vintage retro games and the price. But
stuff. If you always
I'm not
compare
sure
it,
I'd drop that much.
no, if you always compare it to a Astro Boy Pocket, then everything's affordable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's how you go in life.
That's right. That's right. I want to buy this car. It's still cheaper than an Astro Boy Pocket.
I'll fine, let's do it.
Mine. Yeah, right. So are you kind of are you flipping them or is it something that you kind of do more for just yourself?
No, I've never resold anything. It's more for myself, and
Yeah.
it's just being able to either wear them or display them.
Oh, what about the
I've
actual
also started
Game Boys and
collecting
stuff?
the actual Game Boys. Oh yeah, the actual Game Boys, I mod them, prints my designs on shells, cast some buttons, and I do resell them.
I've got a little list of a few of the shells that I saw, and I went through them and I assumed that they were all yours, but I wrote down Ketchup, Pepsi Max, Pac-Man. I had the Swiss SP because it caught my attention. The Tetris GBC. Oh my God. The Thunderbolt Pikachu and the Bomberman. Now,
Yeah.
out of all that Tetris clear GBC shell. Oh, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, those are all designs I've done myself. Usually I do them in 3D and then send the graphics over to someone to get printed on the shell.
Who's your printer?
I've used Bluish Squirrel, PlayerWave USA, and Retro 6 UK for the moment.
The Tetris one, it looks to me like that was a pretty early job.
Yes.
Is there any more?
Of the Tetris ones?
Yeah, that you haven't got a box of them sitting in a cupboard somewhere?
I do not. I only made one-offs, and that was actually my first Game Boy sale ever at GBC.
Oh
for
man,
Tetris one.
That thing's brilliant. Well, if you ever plan on doing a rerun, let me know, because that is
we'll do.
freaking amazing. I didn't even realize it was clear until it sort of says in the description. I was like, oh, that is just bitching. Yeah, what would be kind of like what you think is like, yes, nailed it out of all your your shells that you've done and had sold?
My favorite one would be that Pikachu Thunderbolt one.
It's pretty cool, huh?
Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to sell it because I named it Pikachu, and I got in trouble with the branding of it.
Oh,
so
did you?
It's now sitting on my shelf. Yeah.
Who
my store got put on hold.
Oh, really? Who spoke to you? How did that work for those of us that might want to avoid that process, that concept?
I honestly don't have much information of it apart from getting an email from my store telling me my payment provider had blocked all transactions because they had found out I was selling a product without authorization.
Oh, shit.
It then got quickly cleared up because they thought it was an official product I was claiming to be mine, when in fact it was something that I had made from scratch, but it was like really in a gray area. So I just decided to be safe and remove it and keep it for myself. For some reason, the Pac-Man one is fine.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? I guess with like Pokemon in general is just still. Yeah, I've been through this before on other episodes. My daughter and I had a year or so of just Pokemon cards, just bonkers buying, boxes at pre-releases and all sorts of shit. And it's just, God, they're just printing money, those bastards. So anything
it works.
Oh, it does. It's you want to have fun with your 9-year-old daughter and pull cards. Oh yes, got this golden blah blah. But you're just teaching them to gamble. It's so horrifically disgusting. But it was fun. It was fun for a year or two. But yeah, anything Pokemon or Pikachu, especially, is like you gotta stay under the radar.
Super protective about it.
Yeah. Yeah, what a bummer, hey? Because it's really gorgeous. I think there you've got the lens has the you must have got a custom lens done. The Game Boy colors in gold. Like that's bling bling.
Gold hollow as well, so it like shines in the sun.
Oh, it's a hollow. I think, look at you.
If I'm not mistaken, the lens is from Jelly Belly in the UK. Jelly Belly Customs.
Yeah.
Makes some amazing lenses and buttons.
They're all over the place, those guys, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, what else is going on then? What are you sort of planning on doing with everything?
I've kind of actually taken a break from repairing Game Boys per se.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of them that needs to be repaired, but my focus has kind of shifted towards casting. especially
Oh,
thanks to Sam.
yep.
You've actually had a chat with him as well.
Yeah, Sam and Kelsey. Yeah, those guys
Yeah,
are
exactly.
the crazy cats, huh?
He's been a tremendous help in getting me started a while back, and
Yep.
yeah, that's kind of gotten my interest. I'm really getting into making Game Boy buttons. I'm
Mm.
actually about to cast some Game Boy game carts as well, which is going to be interesting to do.
Oh, nice.
But that's quite time consuming as well. So I kind of put priority on some stuff over others.
Mm. Yeah, I can see over on your kitchen table there is. I asked you what it was, and you said that's my respirator. I thought it might have been some sort of crazy anti-COVID thing, but no, it's for casting.
Yeah.
So casting, like it really seems to be every second person now is casting buttons. When you're sitting down and thinking about casting, how are you going to make what you do different to other people? Like, where do you don't want to give away any secrets, but how do you think your buttons are going to be? Because Sam and that are putting, like sparkles inside theirs, and
Yeah.
some people have got these tiny little Neo Customs has got these cool little like image discs inside them and things like that.
Yeah.
Are you at the moment? You're just at the point where I just want to make a button from some goo in a pressure pot, or do you have plans that you think is going to put you, out on your own?
I've never really had plans or really want to probably sell buttons
Yeah,
on a
yeah,
on a bigger scale. I don't have all the equipment to get them to a high standard where I'd be comfortable selling them off.
sure.
So I mainly make them for myself and send the odd one here and there to other modders.
Yeah,
But I've been getting into mixing resins together to get this sort of marble effect when I cast for buttons. So it's
right.
not, it's completely random patterns every time.
Oh, sweet. Need to hook up and do like a collab build with Kelly. Next stop, please.
I, they're actually on their way to Canada as we speak.
Oh, look out. Look out. That's pretty good. Right. And talking to Sam and uh, he was saying, like his whole idea was to build almost like all the plastic parts to build a Game Boy from scratch. Like
Yeah,
that'd be pretty amazing, shell, everything, whatever, cart, the
that
buttons, the
would be
whole
mad.
lot. Yeah, it's kind of like just baking your own bread. but but bread doesn't burn your lungs if you don't wear a respirator.
Yeah, at least that.
Have you had any of that sort of stuff with your experience, or did you listen to Sam and go, "All right, first thing I do is I buy a respirator"?
I have not, luckily.
Yeah,
I used to spray paint a lot, so I had all the sort of protective gear around.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I was kind of covered from the start, luckily.
yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. And what is your thing with the skateboard? You said you skate. You're sort of like just bombing hills or street cruising, or you're doing the tricks or whatever.
Yeah, I'm more cruising than anything else. I've actually picked up going into skate parks again.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I mainly just use it to travel around and move.
Yeah, right. Do you have any kind of like really classic decks that you've picked up and, or a set of trucks that are like renowned for anything in particular because they're 30 years old? Or...
I do not know. I'm actually trying to not get into skateboard collecting as well.
There's some. Did you see? It was like last year, the year before, Pokemon put out like a few skateboard decks. It was like a Charizard one and stuff like that.
I really don't want to hear about it.
Sorry about that. You go into a skate shop and you look at the wall and you're like, man, when I'm a billionaire from all the Game Boys I sell, I ain't going to buy a whole bunch of these decks and just have a room full of decks. Hey, like some of it's amazing.
Some goals.
Yeah, I skated when I was younger, sort of late teens for the same reason, transport and stuff growing up down in Hobart. And I would never buy a deck that I like the art on. I would buy something that's just kind of like, just it might, if anything, it's just got like an Etnies symbol or something on it. But like, because I don't want to wreck this. Some people get some beautiful decks and they're just trashed. Yeah, you mentioned before about the GameCube. Is it? Do you play much these days?
Retro games, I don't, not much. I'll pick up the odds Tetris or Pac-Man.
Yeah.
But I will mostly play on my PC, like modern games.
Oh, okay. What's your modern PC fix?
My go-to for the past 5 or 6 years has been Counter-Strike.
Right.
So not like the most recent game, but that's kind of what I'm
Yeah.
hooked on.
Is that still cranking?
Yeah,
So what have they?
quite a
So
lot.
what have they done over the years to make Counter Strike still a thing?
They've basically added battle passes.
What's that?
You pay money to get a badge and add missions to the game.
Oh wow!
Nothing's changed to the game in itself.
So did EA buy it or something? Sounds like EA.
Yeah, we could. No, they haven't, but it does sound like that a lot.
If there's loot boxes, it's EA. Yeah, his new hat. I kind of really wanted a weapon upgrade. That's cool. Um, yeah, and so with the GameCube, what have you done on that? That you got any favorite games on the GameCube that you enjoy?
Well, the only original game I have on the GameCube is I think it's Die Hard.
It's the most un-GameCube game, I have to say.
The only game, the real original game, but I've downloaded since then, and I have to say one of my favorites is Mario Kart Double Dash.
Oh yeah, there we go. Now we're talking.
There we go. The ability to play with two players on one car is something I can't get over how awesome that idea was.
Is it that good? Because I have people in my house, but they don't want to do what they don't want to do. So I need to get someone in to play a bit of Double Dash. I know Tristan's in on it, so I need to get a second controller. Have a go at I think it's Kirby Air Ride. That's a cool little racer because you can just grab it. You know, that's what I do. I get the GC loader. And it's a cool game because you don't have an accelerator per se. He just goes. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with any of the Kirby GBA games and so on. There's kind of like mini stages. And as you cruise through, you can do little things. And one of them is like air ride. It's like he's just on a rail. And you sort of jump these buzzy things. And if you win the race, you get extra lives. But air ride, Kirby Air Ride is sort of like a Mario Kart type. You're behind him and he just keeps moving, and all you gotta do is kind of steer, and you get this kind of like semi-brake build up boost function. So it's really fun. It's got another version on it where it's like a top down kind of like like a lot of those other sort of simpler racing games. Highly recommend that. That's lots of fun. Same as the Turtles game. It's got a real kind of a brawler, but it's got a bit of 3D-ness to it. So that's a word. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I recommend those two. They're a bunch
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, do it. Yeah. What have you picked anything up recently that you want to brag about?
Picked up anything I want to brag about? I'm looking over at my display shelf. I don't think I've slowed down buying stuff online, thankfully.
Disappointed.
It was getting dangerous.
What was the last big thing you picked up where you just sort of like, I don't know if you're like maybe if you get something nice, it follows you around the house and you put it places, and I'm going to sit in the couch, it's going to sit there, or I'm going to the bathroom, it's going to sit there. What's the last thing you picked up that you kind of thought about a lot when you shouldn't be?
Damn, that is a tricky question. I'm not sure. Related to Game Boys, I'd say I'm really stoked I got that Game Boy game book, the box collection, I think it was called.
Oh, this one here?
Yeah, there we go.
I was going to bring it up. That was my pick.
There we go. It's right on my coffee table at the moment.
I'll talk about me first. I got given this by my wife. No prompting at all. She's such a bloody keeper. And oh my God, it's a book, hey, like,
yeah, it's
like you could use it to defeat a burglar, I reckon. It makes me want a coffee table. Bitmap Books, massive shout out. And I messaged them and said, thank you. This is a beautiful book. And they responded, and that's what you got to do in this world. You got to show customers that you appreciate the support. Yeah, I mean, I know what I like about it. You tell me what you like about it.
I just love being able to flip through it and find any kind of game and see the artwork and a few preview screens of what the game looks like. It's been super dangerous. I opened it quite a few times on like collector edition boxes, and I was like, oh, I should look into getting that box.
The Bomberman tin.
Yeah, there we go. The Bomberman
Oh
tin.
my god, I didn't even
I
know.
saw that. I was like, I
Yeah.
need that tin.
I know. I think there's more than one. Yeah, that stuff's bonkers. Hey, I would love to have some of that stuff. Do you have any flash carts like EverDrives or anything for your Game Boys?
um, per se, flash cards, no. I've got one that's able to I can flash like logos on. I can't
Oh,
flash
okay.
games on it,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
but
Yeah. I highly recommend picking up for the earlier stuff. The Easy Flash Junior is pretty cheap and it's probably pretty
mhm.
close to you. They're in Europe somewhere. Probably won't take like 4 to 5 weeks to get to you like it does for me. The EverDrive is good, but twice the price. The Easy Flash Amiga, which is a GBA thing, is a little bit janky. Yeah, it's all right. And again, half the price. But I'll highly recommend pick up the Junior for it'll let it run in a pocket
Yeah.
color. No, it'll run in a color Pocket and DMG. And yeah, that's as soon as I got it, that book, Game Boy, the box art collection. I just started flicking through it and going, oh, look at that game. That looks like fun. That is like fun. And I just put like about an extra 40 games on my flash card and kind of played them and went, yeah, I guess. It's really what I like about the book the most is probably the most is just to sort of see a lot of stuff that was like only available in certain regions, like so much of the
Yeah.
Japanese stuff. Like the whole concept of JRPG really impresses me, and I wish I could do it, but just because of the story and the plot and the killing of the trolls and the collecting of the swords and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
But I just haven't got the patience. But when you kind of read through some of this stuff, you can really see, so much time and effort has gone into creating these works of art. Yeah. Right. What else? It's a good book. Have you sort of picked anything else up that you really love? What about so with your casting, are you using you're using a pressure pot and all that sort of business?
I'm not. No, that's
Right.
that's why I don't sell them. I don't have a pressure pot or even a vacuum chamber.
So what's your
So
process?
it's exactly the same. I just don't have those two. So I'm prone to errors, sorry. And yeah, I mean they're really expensive and I can't even get them in Switzerland, so I've
All
not
right.
even bothered looking for them. We're
So
unfortunately
explain
landlocked and
explain to me then, because I've only kind of whatever Sam's told me and I've sort of picked up. Explain to me and other people that might understand what the pressure pot really does then, because you must understand what it does.
uh, well, from the amount I haven't understood, I really haven't looked into it, but I can't super easily, so I'd rather not know what I'm missing out on. But from what I've understood, it
Yeah.
kind of removes the air bubbles from your casts to get the resin like perfectly everywhere. And I can definitely see that I do have that issue from time to time.
Right.
So a pressure pot would be great, but finding one seems to be super hard here.
Well, maybe Sam can help you out. I mean, Sam's looking at doubling, tripling his fleet. So if he's obviously got a source, it'll probably cost you so much money in shipping because I'm sure they're not. If they're anything like
Yeah.
I imagine they're
Oh,
like
they're
one of those
huge.
like the pressure cookers, that you use for cooking stews and things.
Yeah, you can double it in size and weight probably.
Oh, really?
And on top of that, you need a one of those engines that can pull the air out and push the air in. So
Some sort of compressor set up.
yeah, there we go. One of those
Those
compressors.
engines that.
The words did not come to me.
That's all right. That's all right. But
How?
I think it was called the bus that couldn't slow down. Yeah, the Simpsons where he's talking about the movie Speed. Yeah, right. Oh well, I mean, but you say you're getting results.
Yeah. I am. I mean, I use the buttons for myself mainly,
Mm.
and the odd cast that is perfect, I will send it out to someone.
So in essence, then you're kind of like making like an ice cube tray, I guess. You're pouring the resin into a
Yeah,
shape.
yeah.
So what you're saying is kind of anybody can give it a go.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, if I would ballpark the figure, probably to get started, I spent about $100 on it all,
That's pretty
without
bad.
any of the fancy equipment. And like
Yeah.
I said, I already had all my protective gear.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just need silicone and resin basically
What's the
if you want to
silicon
give it
factor?
to make the molds.
Right.
So to make the molds, you'll then be able to pour the resin in.
And you did the same
But it's
concept where sorry, you go.
once you get to this higher quality that it becomes more expensive because you need all these fancy
Yeah.
machines and equipment.
Yeah. Were you asking someone to give you money for it, kind of thing, for the product?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So yeah, I was just going back. I was just flicking here back over some of your artwork. The ketchup one's pretty cool, huh? Is that like legit art?
That was actually a fun, I think it was a hashtag that if I'm not mistaken, Next Stop Please kickstarted it off. It was called something like Game Boy Nibbles or Nintendo Nibbles.
Right.
And we were making Game Boys that were sort of branded with food and or drinks. She did some tea. She did a tea brand. I did ketchup. I think I remember Marmite or Marmite going around as well.
Oh, the Marmite ones rings a bell. Was that
That's Nintendo DIY.
Yeah, that was David's.
There we
Yeah,
go.
I saw the Marmite one. Yeah, that's pretty wicked. Yeah.
So that's actually just a sticker I slapped on a red shell.
Don't say that. You guys, he did the same thing with the Ghostbuster one. I'm like, it's not just a sticker. Like you got to put it on, and it's got to be in the right place. It looks like you're in on the hashtag holiday handheld as well. You've got a Christmas jobby in there.
Oh yeah, that was actually super fun to do.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Some 3D printing, some LED mods, and tinsel all around the place.
Oh yeah, you like to print too, hey? I've got a printer.
Yeah.
Everybody's got one these days. It's so cool. I'm surprised there's not more just
lovely
printing of carts and shells and things. Like casting's one thing, but with resin printing, I'm like, why isn't that happening? What do you think?
Yeah, that's mad. I think I saw a post recently pass by of a 4K print resolution with resin print. Absolutely gorgeous. It looked like it was casted. So definitely that could actually be a thing soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Once it's maybe it's, yeah, I don't know what the sort of volume is like for the everyday kind of printer, but resin printer, but it just seems like it's inevitable. All you old school steam driven pressure pot casting people will be out of a job.
You'll be like I mean, it takes a while compared to well, actually, it wouldn't. I'm trying to estimate how long like a 3D printer would take to print a shell.
Yeah.
How long would you think that would take? Couple hours?
Look, I haven't seen resin printing, so it's going to obviously depend on, like you said, resolution and material and the particular printer itself. But I think if I just printed one out of PLA, yeah, I've got a janky old kind of like Prusso copy that you've got to kind of give it a bit of time and space. I could probably print a shell out of PLA with someone else's model in 5 or 6 hours. So yeah, you know, for something that you're going to sell for whatever, say $60 Australian as a raw resin shell, like it's a big investment to have a farm of resin printers.
Yeah, for sure.
They'd have to be pretty significantly rad, you know, to make it worth your while. Whereas I guess with a cast, what have you seen the volume of a casting pressure pot? Like how many shells do you reckon you could do at once in the pots you've sort of seen?
I honestly have no idea. It depends on the size of the pot, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure how big the pots
were. I've rarely seen actually full casted shells like behind the scenes. I know Sam's posted one or two pics of working on the shells, but you don't often see that. Most people do buttons because
pretty intricate.
Obviously, if you mess it up, You lose just a bit of resin compared to about 100 grams of resin, or I don't know how much you'd need for a shell.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a pretty big roll of the dice.
Yeah, it's expensive as well.
Is resin pretty expensive, is it?
I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but it's expensive where I'm getting it from. It's like I pay about 50 Swiss francs, which should I guess be 80 Australian dollars for 500 grams.
Oh wow. It does, when you talk about maybe 100 grams for an entire shell. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's I have no idea if that's how much you'd be using.
I mean, 100 grams of something is 100 grams of something, isn't it? A shell weighs about 100
exactly.
grams. Let's just a few photos on your Instagram of that involves a yellow Tamagotchi. Is that something particularly you're fond of?
Yellow Tamagotchi. Oh, is that the Pokemon Pikachu pocket pedometer?
Oh, is it? Is that what it is? It's got a D-pad and buttons. Is it some sort of?
Yeah, there we go. It's like a Tamagotchi, but it also calculates your steps, so you can use your steps to trade it in with coins to feed your Pikachu.
Oh, was this something that came like with the yellow Pokemon?
I have no idea. I picked that up one day while browsing on eBay and thought it looked absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. It's pretty rad indeed. What made you pick Pac-Man for a shell? Are you a Pac-Man fiend?
Yeah, I love Pac-Man. One of my goals one day is to get one of those original Miss Pac-Man arcades.
So you know who you know who Billy Mitchell is then?
Yes.
I met him a few years ago. He was here in Australia for the Australian Kong Off, one of the Kong Offs, which is a big Donkey Kong thing, and he was here.
Okay, yeah.
What have I got? I've got. I could reach down, but unplugged in. I've got a couple of bottles of his hot sauce.
He's got shit.
Yeah. Well, if you ever seen King of Kong, that documentary, it's all about him and Steve Wiebe, and yeah, that's kind of what he does. He has hot sauce, but I've also got a little. Where is that? One of those Christmas decoration Donkey Kong cabs. You know, you press the button and it goes. It makes the noises, but I got sign the back of it and stuff, and it was really cool. He's a very large man, and he has very large hands. It's bizarre. Like he dwarfs a cab. He kind of leans over it, leans into it, and he's got this one massive hand. It just like covers the entire control deck. But
mad.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, isn't he? He's a bit like it's like WWF. It's like, he's a character. You know, he's done things and he hasn't done things, and he's, you know what? He does a lot of stuff for charity, and he turns up. COVID slowed him down, but you know, he's very supportive of the community in general. So take him for what he is. If you don't like him, just stay away, I guess. It's all good. So yeah, exactly. Pac-Man. So do you play Pac-Man? Do you have a Switch? Do you play, was it Pac-Man 99 or whatever it's called? Or
I do have a Switch. I did not play Pac-Man on the Switch. I didn't know that was a thing even.
Oh, there's one that's just come out recently. Someone was talking about. And you chase
Tetris.
There's the Tetris one. There's a Pac-Man one that's come out recently, and it's crazy. You just
should check that out.
Yeah, do it. You can chase all these other like invisible ghosts and stuff and all sorts of cool stuff. Yeah. Right. Do you have access to any cabs near you? Like, is there any local arcades or anything near you?
No, there isn't, unfortunately. There's the one place I was able to play Pac-Man once, was in a retro video game museum up in Zurich in Switzerland.
Right.
So it's about a 4-hour train ride from where I live. Not really worth it to just play some Pac-Man, but
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So, do you mind telling us whereabouts in Switzerland you are, and like, are you in some sleepy village or are you stuck in the city?
Yeah, I'm more or less in some sleepy village in the middle of the mountains.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm down here for my new job. I used to live in Zurich, which is a big city in Switzerland.
Right.
But now I'm in a really nice sort of peaceful place surrounded by mountains. It's lovely.
Must be pretty cool to be able to do sort of your job that, you know, is effectively based on sort of, you know, I guess very massive grunty desktop type computers or something, and it's like wherever that is, you can
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. It's quite easy. I mean, with COVID as well,
Yeah.
I've been working from home for the past 2.5 months. So it really shows that at least my job can be done completely off-site.
How does that work? Like, do you take these massive, grunty kind of $40,000 machines home, or is it sort of done by more cloud?
I mean, I'm just currently using my own PC, which was it's just one of those gaming PCs I built up myself a few years ago.
Yeah.
So not really more than 2 or 3 grand, I would
Wow.
say, for the whole build.
Mm.
Luckily, like motion design and video editing isn't super heavy compared to something like 3D renders.
Yeah, or
And
like
when it
animation
comes to
for
something,
movies or something.
yeah, that's insane. When it comes
Mm.
to that, you tend to use what we call render farms. So you send all your work out to a cloud-based server, which will render it all out for you.
Oh, what? So what do you do
Um,
then?
Obviously at a price. So you do all the work, and then you send all your work off to one of those render farms, and they press the button to calculate all your images.
Oh, wow. Mm.
There's a lot
That's,
of time and avoids your computer being completely saturated while it does all the renders.
oh, okay. So it's a bit like someone might design something in CAD and that goes off to like a CNC place that actually then
Exactly.
creates the
Yeah,
product.
it's exactly like that. Yeah. So
Right.
you send it off, and they send you back like the final video or image file.
Oh man, that's pretty cool, huh? I think about those stories of like Rare Games, when they were designing all the stuff for the 64 and they're all like squeezed into renovated barns and stuff.
Yeah, it's
Like just
insane.
just bonkers sort of stuff.
And
Yeah,
actually,
right.
to give you an idea, like most of the renders on my page, um, all of projects are sent off to a cloud to get rendered because my computer would take about, I think I estimated 1 or 2 would take me 45 minutes to route the single image, which is just too painful to do myself. So I just send it off to a render, and they send me back the image within a few minutes.
That's like these, including these like sort of Game Boy renders and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you just do it on the boss's credit card sort of thing.
No, it's surprisingly cheap when it comes to just doing one image. It would cost me something like a few cents.
Oh, right.
It's if you're doing like massive movies, you have to budget in a few grand. But for a single image and things like, I mean, because my scenes are really simple, they calculate it and it turns up super cheap for me.
Mm, mm. Well, that's cool. It must be pretty rewarding. Working from home must have been a kind of good thing, I guess. Like how did you find it?
Yeah, I mean, it was all new last year. I landed a 4-month contract. Super stoked to start it. I spent at most 2 days at the office, and then we went into full lockdown.
Yeah.
So everything was from home, and that's kind of where everything started when it came to launching my Instagram
Yeah.
page as well.
Yeah.
I suddenly had so much more time on my hands. I wasn't commuting back and forth every day. So
It's
I was
crazy,
like, you
isn't
know
it?
what? I'm going to start taking pictures of the stuff I do, the
Yeah.
collections, do some renders here and there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it all started.
There's one here which I assume is a render. It looks like a lot of Switch Joy-Cons just kind of floating.
Oh, yeah, the Zelda one.
They're blue and red. Blue and red Joy-Cons, kind of like metallic colors.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're all renders as well.
It's pretty amazing. What's just near there? I'm not sure if you're looking. There's some pins, some Super Mario pins. They look somewhat
Yes.
old and collectible.
Yeah, that's my other massive collection is Nintendo pins.
Well, why didn't you say that
Um,
before when I said
back
that's awesome?
back from Club Nintendo days, I've got a good probably 30, 40 pins sitting
Right.
around.
Are they
They're super
expensive?
random as well. No, that's the fun thing about them. They cost about $2
Right.
a pin, so it's really affordable as a collection, I guess. But it's also something I find really fascinating.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've got one there. If you're looking at the pictures as well, I've got one where it's Mario riding on the cutout of Switzerland.
Yeah.
And I can't for the life of me begin to imagine why Nintendo would make custom Swiss pins. Like Nintendo doesn't have a huge place in Switzerland, so
Right.
I can't figure that one out.
Is it not something you've seen a lot of? You're like, what the
No,
heck? I gotta have that.
that's happened a few times where I'm scratching my head trying to figure out what Nintendo is doing.
Maybe it was some sort of strange or one-off kind of like Switzerland CES type situation, and they just had a bunch put out for that particular event or something.
That could be possible, yeah.
That's pretty cool, huh? They're funny because they got that kind of that color where it's not like they've faded, but they're just a different palette.
Yeah, they've yellowed a bit.
Oh, have they yellowed a bit? Because
yeah.
Right, because they just look like a totally different palette. It's bonkers. Yeah, right. I look around Instagram a lot and I see people, and then when I have people like yourself on, I give them the opportunity to kind of, draw our attention to people that you think are really putting out some pretty good content. Do you have anybody that you see that you're like, hey, this dude's great? Or, I mean, you can give someone a big hug if they've been handy too, except for Sam, because he's got his fair share of hugs for one episode. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, there's a few names I'd like to mention. One of them being Nara Makes Games. I hope I pronounced that first part correctly.
Yeah, you did.
Some mods actually launching into making a full Game Boy game. I can't wait to see the progress of that as well.
Yep.
Love his feed.
Yeah, well. I'm pretty big on anything that comes out now for tech that's 20, 30 years old. I've got a EverDrive for my Mega Drive, and I've got a hold of a couple of games I've made in the last year or two.
Yeah.
And there's a real art to making a game for a platform that could be amazing, but at the same time, it's still, giving you that ode to the system.
There's
a lot of this sort of retro stuff that comes out on new PlayStation and Xbox. And it's like, I see the style, but I don't think it's quite as faithful. So that will be awesome to see what he comes out with.
Definitely. Go on. Another one I've been seeing quite a bit of, and I'm going to pronounce it, probably butcher it as well, but it's B und P Mods. His name is Mike.
Yep.
Doing some good stuff as well. I think he also made a CNC Game Boy cart out of wood, which was something I had not seen before, and I found that really amazing.
Yeah, Mike was my pick last episode, actually, because the stuff he does is pretty neat. Bit of I think he's doing a bit of etching and stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really cool.
Original stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe one or two more names. I've got Plume Customs.
Sorry, what was it again?
Who's been a tremendous Plume Customs, Plume Customs.
Yeah.
He's been a tremendous help when it comes to printing. He does some amazing reproduction boxes and prints, stickers, labels, game carts.
Yeah.
Some super awesome, and looks so clean.
And he's a Pac-Man fan.
Based
on that barcade that he's got there sitting on that barrel.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd love to mention also, lastly, Retro Joy Gaming.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Dude, that was going to be my pick for this week.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, if you're listening to this podcast right now, just so that you can understand what we're about to tell you, go to Retro Joy Gaming. You tell us, Mike. Tell us what it's all about, because I was blown away when I saw it.
Some absolutely amazing stuff. I mean, as a quick description, he basically makes arcade cabinets for the Game Boy Advance SP.
Exactly.
They're super clean.
Yeah. I really want to get one of these from him at some point.
It's on my list to get one day too.
All right. Yeah. I need to I did message him the other day. I said, do you mind if I talk about this? He's like, yeah, sure. Functional? Not necessarily, but as a thing, sitting there with an SP that's kind of sitting there doing nothing anyway. Oh my
Exactly.
God.
Awesome to look at.
So good. So good. So yeah,
I'm
hit
also
that guy
seeing
up.
that the D-pad is now getting a sort of joystick installed on them as well,
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Hey,
which just adds to the whole aesthetic as well.
makes it, you could probably hold it in your palm and actually make it playable.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's doing. So it looks like he's actually fixing them to D-pad. So I wonder if the result is you need to pull your SP apart and just replace the D-pad there. That's doable by most of us, and just adds that extra bit where you're like, it looks like a cab now. Oh, well, you stole my thunder. That's okay.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. Um, yeah, actually, speaking of sort of arcadey stuff, as a friend of mine, Neil Cairns. I've mentioned Neil last episode about attempting the Ghosts and Goblins arcade world record. He gave it a crack last week. The world record is 1.2 million, which is
Jeez.
from watching. Yeah, I know. From watching Neil, that's probably three times through the whole game.
Okay, damn.
Yeah, because I saw him do. He gave it 2 days, 7 hours a day for Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, I know. And then I messaged him and I didn't hear from him for like a week. Like, I've been on holidays. I'm like, yeah, you deserve it. That's bonkers. Neil hit just around about 900K. So, he was hitting hitting sort of somewhere between 300 and 500 per loop. And yeah, getting through that second loop and then into the third one is that. He's already got the world MAME record for the same game, Ghosts and Goblins.
Okay, yeah.
So he's there. There was some anomalies with the actual ROMs on the board that he got where he's like, I've not seen this before. This is bizarre.
That's new.
Yeah, because it does this stuff. I think I heard him explain. It does this stuff where if you get to a certain point with X number of men, it's like, right, I'm going to fix your wagon. That was my understanding. So I guess you got to run that balance between getting somewhere with a bunch of, buffer or getting there with less buffer and it doesn't get so angry, but then you don't have the buffer. But there was just some weird aggression that he was not expecting. And he'd been playing for 7 hours and the second day, another 7 hours. So
7 hours, damn.
Yeah, so shout out to Neil and the crew from the Played Up podcast. So I think next month you'll give it another go. That's pretty amazing. Right. Have you got anything else that I've sort of hit you all over the board there by just sort of going through Instagram and asking a bunch of rando questions? Have you got anything else you'd like to sort of talk about or bring up or highlight that you would like people to know about?
I think we've covered it basically. Retrogaming, 3D printing, and casting.
Yeah, you haven't sort of got any. You said your collecting goals are kind of sorted because it's expensive for the time being.
Yeah, I'm trying to come off. I've also got hooked on Walkmen as well.
Oh, really?
Got a few Sony Walkmans lying around here and there.
Oh, you've been watching that Elliot Cole just a little too much, I think.
Yeah. I do like them though, and it's a different. Don't know really how to describe it, but listening to music on them feels different, even though it's like a brand new cassette that's been produced like last year.
Right. There's
the whole vibe of it.
The click of the button, that real chunky.
Yeah, it's definitely those buttons.
I saw he once had this little LP player, but it was like the size of, I don't know, a book, and it was mobile, and you could he was sort of sitting on the steps out front of a church or something with this little record player that played, I think they played like the smaller ones.
I see.
You take it to the park and have some cheese. Yeah. Play your favorite Top of the Pops or whatever back in the day. Cool. All right. Well, before we wrap up, I will mention this is episode 9. The next episode is episode 10. And thanks to the sponsor, retrogamestore.com.au, we're having a giveaway to celebrate the 10th episode. It's a nice, beautiful pocket, all rebuilt, refurbed, sexy, good to go. The Q5 screen. I'm not sure if you played with one of those, but you can. I've, the problem with that palette adjustable screen is that I'm never kind of. I'm never finished. You know, I'll push it into the green, or I'll push it like into a brownie kind of shade, or I'll push it, and every time I pick it up, like, and I put it next to another pocket, and I'm like, oh, it could be this. I guess it is amazing. It does have a touch sensor where you can have, like, I think it's got like 36 palettes, but every time I pick it up, I would adjust it. It would flick to a palette. I'm like, damn, I got to hit it 34, 35. Boom, got it. So I went back in and just removed that, because I just wanted that one palette that's adjustable.
Yeah. Sounds like a lot of palettes otherwise.
Yeah, it's just a lot of palettes, isn't it? 36. Like, I don't know whether that's just a programming restriction, like you must have 36 things in this part of
I wonder.
There's others around that got some of the funny playing ones got like 8 or 6 or something. Like, that seems more sensible.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah,
that's choice.
Yeah, get in it. You just go over to Craig's Instagram, retrogamestore.com.au, and I think the deal is you subscribe and recommend a friend or like and stuff, and get in the mix, because you could win that. That's pretty rad.
Yeah, it's a good looking pocket.
It is a good looking pocket. Pocket is my favorite by far. I don't know why. It's just that unsung sort of hero. They're still pretty easy to get hold of here in Australia or here in North Queensland where I am. So snatch them up while you can, I say.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, look, been chatting for a while. I really appreciate your time. It's your Saturday morning there.
That's correct. Yeah.
Not sure what the state of affairs is in your world, but hopefully I can see the sun coming through the door. You can maybe go for a skate or whatever it is. And yeah, we'll keep watching your Instagram and enjoying what you do. And it's not all about creating products to sell. It's a lot of us are just doing it because we love it, and I think you and I sort of have that in common. And I'm more than happy to sprout for those that are doing it to make stuff, because then I can buy the stuff. But I'm also happy just to be the guy that buys the stuff, because God, it sounds like some hard work sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. It's super fun to chat around.
Yep, no worries, mate. All right, well, like I said, appreciate your time. Those that have joined us to the end, thanks for staying around, and I hope that you go and check out Mike's content and some of the other people that we've mentioned. Retro Joy Gaming, those little SP cabs are bonkers. Let's all bomb him with some orders and put some dinner on his table. So yeah, Mike, have a good one, mate, and we'll be in touch, and I'll catch you in the traps, hey?
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Okay, mate. See ya.
See ya.